Thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson. All protocols have been observed. So I want to go straight, and because of time, I'll go straight into my discourse. But first, I want to congratulate Mr. Johnson. He mentioned that he was one of my trainees. I worked at the academy for 13 years, and I was one of his instructors. I'm glad to see that we didn't dismiss him when he was in training. It's a good thing we didn't. So if you had dismissed Mr. Johnson, then this probably would have been committing crimes. I don't know. But thank God. So Mr. Johnson, all right, we spared you, and here you are now. And I'm very proud that he's a member of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, a very active member, and he's flying the flag high. So keep up the good work, and I expect to see this operation spreading. All right, as instructions are given, right? All right. Okay. I want to start off by making a bold statement. It may be controversial, but I'm making a bold statement. Number one, I don't believe, and I'm letting you all know one time as parent, I don't believe in corporal punishment. So that's as bold as it gets. I don't believe in licks. And I'll tell you why as we go along. I don't believe in licks. We think that licks is the answer. But I don't believe in licks. Because if licks was the answer, then it would have solved all the discipline problems that we probably would have had. But it's not working because clearly persons are committing more crimes, persons are more indisciplined, and we are having a lot of problems with licks. All right? The doctor said it correctly. Train up a child. Now, train up a child doesn't mean to say that it's licks. Train them up in a way. There are particular ways. Now, I like the theme. Parenting a 4G generation. I like the word 4G because 4G speaks of now, newness, technology. It means to say the times is changing and we need to change too. If we don't change, we'll be in big problems. Now, from a Christian point of view, I know that the Lord said that I am the Lord and I change not. But the more he says that I change not, is the more changes taking place with him. He makes a lot of changes, as a matter of fact. Old Testament, New Testament, a lot of different things that the Lord did in the Old Testament, he made changes, yet he changed it not. So we have to take some pattern from that. And I'm looking at the aspect of persons long ago who would have, probably in the Old Testament, who would have committed sins. One of the ways that they needed to redeem themselves, they had to go to the altar with all different types of dove and lamb and so on to receive forgiveness. But now with the New Testament, there's a new way of repentance. So that is just to say this, that the strategies and techniques of a parent must change as the time goes along. Now, I observe that everything in life, if you need to learn a skill, normally you'll go to a workshop, you'll go to your primary school, you'll go to secondary school, you'll go to university, and in the universities, there will be a lot of activities that will cause you to learn a lot of life skills. But one of the topics or the subjects I'm not seeing in the universities is the whole aspect of parenting. Parenting needs to be a subject or a topic in universities. People need to learn how to be parents. As a matter of fact, if you're learning all the skills, you want to be a doctor, you have to learn the skills of a doctor. You want to be an engineer, you have to learn the skills. You want to be a lawyer, you have to learn the skills. But yet still, we don't have any aspect of parenting as a topic. People think parenting is an easy thing. Yes, it is easy from the point of view of how to get a child. We can get a child very, very easy. But the whole aspect of parenting is a skill by itself. As a matter of fact, I think you're supposed to have your school event certificate in parenting. You're supposed to have your degree in parenting, and then you're supposed to have a master's in parenting, and then a doctorate in parenting. Because you're learning, it's life skills that you're learning. Because if you do a degree as a lawyer or human resource, and you want to improve yourself, you'll go and do your master's, and then you'll go and do your PhD, and then you become a professor. In all the worldly items, we are actually learning. We have persons set aside to deal with these aspects, but nobody is setting aside time to teach persons how to be parents. So we have young men, young women getting married early, having children, and then all hell break loose. Now you ask why. I'm speaking from experience from the point of view of I'm the father of a 19-year-old daughter and a teenage daughter in this time. Lord have mercy. I am a widower because my wife died in 2010. So, and she was very close. My daughter was very close to her. And she was 16 at the time. So here I am, a police officer, single parent, a father. Wasn't that close to my daughter from the point of view of the relationship that a girl will have with her mother. So I have to now fit in somehow or the other. I couldn't go on the internet and say, well, okay, how to parent a 16-year-old girl? I'm not seeing it on the internet. I can't go and take a course to find out how to parent a 19-year-old girl. Problems. So I have to learn by trial and error. I can remember the day when she told me, she was 16, no, going on 17, and she said, Daddy, if I told you that I want to have a relationship with this boy, what would you say? So I turned to the other side and I said, Lord, I know this time would have come. So I'm studying what to tell my 17-year-old daughter who is seeing boys. Whether we like it or not, they're going to see boys. The boys will see girls. That's the reality. They will like one another. And you can hide, as Mr. Johnson said, you can hide the face from the TV, from not seeing kisses, and they're going to see it on their phones. Advertisement, they will see it all about. You cannot hide it. Anyhow you take it, they will be exposed. So it's better you tell them what to do as opposed to somebody else telling them what to do. Because if you don't tell them what to do, if you don't teach them, somebody else is going to teach them. They're going to learn from the schools. They're going to learn from their friends. They're going to learn from the gang leader. They're going to learn from the community leaders. And they will be taught the wrong thing. So I told her, if I tell her no, you cannot see this boy, she's going to hide. And she's going to see the boy behind my back. And then I can't make it look like I'm all that for it. Well, hey. So I have to try to strike a balance. So I told her, I say, you remember, you used to tell your mother that you'll make her proud? She said yes. I said, but and you told me that you'll make me proud? She said yes. I said, so you know that there are high expectations for you? She said yes. So I said, once you remember that people have high expectations from you, you will know how to operate. And that is all I told her. That is all. She's 19. I'm not putting my head on a block that she's a saint. I'm not doing that. But I'm saying that she is going in a direction that I'm quite pleased with. Without having to lay a hand on her, without having to make her feel that she's nobody and what she's doing is so wrong and it's a sin and she'll be condemned. Parents need to be, I don't want to use the word a friend, but you need to be a companion to your children. You need to relate to your children. It's not about I'm daddy and your daughter, I'm daddy, your son. Whatever I say goes. No. At times you have to be autocratic and you may have to put on your foot and say, okay, I'm not going to accept this. But most of the time you'll have to relate to your children. If you don't relate to them, they will find somebody who they can relate to. It is better that you teach your children than somebody else in that point of view. All right? So that is very, very important. I remember when she was 3, once, I mean, I'm not a bully, but once I told her something and she dropped on the floor and she started crying. And two slap. My wife grabbed me and said, boy, you want to kill the child? And that week, I felt sick for a whole week, Knowing the whole aspect that I hit her, and she cried, and she ran from me as if she was afraid, I felt sick. And I promised myself I will never lay a hand on her again, ever. And I kept that promise. Now, psychologists will tell you, licks, children will associate licks. I want you to do something, I will beat you. So they'll have an association. So if I'm doing something wrong, I expect to get licks. What do you think is going to happen when they grow up? When your sons now is involved in a relationship and they realize now that I want you to do something and the person says, I'm not going to do it. What do you think is the first thing that's going to come to their mind? That they need to do it and I need to fight. And that is why we have so much of domestic violence taking place in Trinidad and Tobago and the world. So much of child abuse taking place. Because people relate licks. And it started off with the whole aspect of slavery. Come right up. All right? And that is in our minds. Now, this guy, Wilberforce, that is the guy who just said that abolished slavery. Now, we think that Wilberforce freed the slave. Wilberforce didn't free the slaves, you know. Wilberforce freed England from slavery, not the slaves, because England was doing something wrong. And Wilberforce informed them that, hey, this is something wrong, to stop. So he freed England from slavery. Now, our generation, our people have to free themselves from slavery. And when you free yourself from slavery, you'll realize that you will find new and innovative ways to parent and to do certain things. Right now, the murder rate is close to 380. And it's because our young men decide that, here what, I want this from you. If I can't get it, I will take it by force. Licks, it starts off with licks, violence. And it means to say that violence is reigning. It is not working. Throughout the years, men have fought, they have fought wars, useless wars. To gain what? And everything that they believe that I can get this by violence. And it is very important that we find different ways. Now is the era where we have to negotiate. We have to talk. We have to find different methods. We have to come to some agreement. Okay, what is the best way? Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a disciplinarian. I believe in sanctions. I believe in getting persons to do something that is correct. So I believe in, so don't get me wrong, don't feel that I'm a wimp. I'm not going to, I will allow things to happen. I worked at the academy for 13 years, and the police academy is a place of discipline when recruits come into the barracks. So Mr. Johnson will tell you, when they came into the barracks, I was like, my name is Wayne, my first name, but you can call me by my last name. So they asked, what's your last name? I said, my last name is Sir. So what's my last name? Sir. I said, right. I said, I have two rules around here. Rule 1, the instructor is always right. And rule 2, if you have a problem with that, refer back to rule 1, which is the instructor is always right. So that was the rules in the barracks. So don't get me wrong, I love discipline. Right is right, wrong is wrong. But they will tell you, I never cursed a trainee. I never struck a trainee. I never used violence to get trainees to do what I wanted them to do. So his squad will come up and I will say, here what? This training period is for 45 minutes. If you all drill and march extremely well, we do it for 20 minutes and we break off. And within 20 minutes, the squad is firing, they are performing, and they got a reward of the rest of the period being off. So I'm just using that as an example of how you can, what the things that you could do to get persons. We need to motivate our children as opposed to forcing them to do something. It is better when you motivate somebody and they want to do it and they expect a reward. Christ talked about a reward at the end of his life. So in a sense, he's giving you a motivation. All right? The other aspect is, one of the reasons, I told persons, one of the reasons why we are having so much crime in the country is because there are a lot of misfits. And when I mean misfits, persons are not in the position that they want to be. So as a result of that, they are resorting to the easiest way. So the easiest way, I could walk up to somebody, point a gun at them, give me your money, and I take it. And why that is happening is because they are what you call misfits. They are not in the position. And you know what? You know who caused that? Parents caused that, and I'll tell you why parents caused that. I'm telling you, I'm being a little controversial this afternoon. Parents are the main causes. Why? Think back. My parents, your parents, and even you being a parent. Your child is growing up. Okay, we have to have basic education. I made a statement where there is something called compulsory education in Trinidad and Tobago between 5 and 12. The child must receive compulsory education. I have no problems with that. That is good. Because you must know how to count, you must know how to spell, you must know how to read. That is very important. But here what do you find happening? The Joneses next door to you, son is doing quite well in school. He's getting 1s, he's getting A's, he's getting high B's. He goes to secondary school. He goes to tertiary education. And you hear the Joneses talking about, my son is studying to be a lawyer. Or my daughter is studying to be a doctor. Your son now, or your daughter, may not be so academically inclined, but you want to keep up with the Joneses. So you start to push John or Sally into the direction, I want you to be a lawyer, I want you to be a doctor. No, really and truly, John didn't want to be no doctor, you know. John didn't want to be no lawyer, but he's only doing it because you threaten him and say, I'm spending so much money on you, and if he ain't come out to be or turn out to be a lawyer, I will do for you. He getting licks to learn his work. John grows up. Probably he went to medical school, but remember he's growing up. So he's 17. He reaches 18. 18 is the legal age of adulthood in Trinidad and Tobago. So halfway in medical school or halfway in lawyer school, you call him and ask him, well, how are you going? You say, Mommy, I drop out of school. You know, what? You get vexed. But you can't do the John thing because John taller than you now. He bigger than you. And he's 18 years. So he tell you, say, Mommy, me do nothing. You know. I going to do something else. He tried to do something else, but realized now that what he tried to do now, probably it's too late for him to do it, or probably he don't have the resources to do it. So he's between a rock and a hard place, or she. He decides now, what is the easiest way to make money? I need to get money. I need to pay my rent. I need to do this. He moves out. He cannot get a job because he didn't go the path that probably I want him to go. So he starts to line with the wrong company. He probably started to smoke. He probably started to sell drugs. Easy money. So he was created. It's not his fault, you know. He was created, you know. A seed was planted in him. So I keep telling parents, from small, you need to find out what is the gift that your child possesses. If you don't find out what the gift that the child possesses, you'll have a lot of problems because they're going to do something only you want to do. And they will not fulfill their purpose. We talk about fulfilling our purpose. I gave a lecture on finding a gift. Now, if you find a gift, the Bible said your gift will make a way for you and will carry you before kings. Well, why will the Bible say that? Why will the Bible say a gift? The Bible didn't say skills. The Bible didn't say your education. It said a gift. And what is a gift? A gift is something that you have naturally. Every one of us in this room possess a gift. Something that we could do better than anybody else in this room. But you know what? We put it aside. Because somehow or the other, that is not the way to go. That is not what's taking place. That is not what's being advertised. What is being advertised now is a corporate executive. And I want to be an executive. I want to be the prime minister. Everybody cannot be the prime minister. Everybody cannot be a doctor. Everybody cannot be a lawyer. Everybody cannot be the commissioner of police. So you need to find a gift. So I always draw the reference of Dwight York. Remember Dwight York? Dwight York from Tobago. A gifted footballer. One of the best Tobago would have produced. One of the best Trinidad and Tobago produced. Dwight York followed his gift. Now, Dwight York had education. He did his basic education. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against education. Get your basic education. But Dwight York followed his gift. His parents probably saw something, and the coach, Bertil Sinclair, saw something. That's a life story we always use. Bertil Sinclair realized that this young boy, he had a gift. He had him in the Sinclair training school and woke him up. Dwight York, at his peak, using his gift, exploiting his gift, was making £108,000 per week playing for Manchester United. Think of that. Pounds, right? 13-1. And a person making £108,000 per week. Doing something that he likes. Doing something that he is better than a whole generation. They didn't have to force him to play football. He loved it. So now that his career is over in football, he could go and study if he wants to. He has money. He can do anything he wants to. All because he fulfilled his purpose. He utilized his gift. Then the other side now, if the person is gifted academically, no problem. Push them in that field. You have some persons, I know some young children, I mean, in terms of, they are what you call mathematicians, I mean, wizards. Push them enough because that is what they like. They'll do that with their eyes closed. Push them. So parents, you have a great responsibility. And you can find out the gift, because sometimes the gift is something what they inherit probably from you sometimes. So you find sometimes a person's father might be a footballer, a great footballer, and they end up with the genes. A person might be a good singer, and the daughter or son end up with the genes. So there are certain ways that you could find keys to know what is that person's gift. You'll see them from young. And you could start picturing the gifts from young. And once you find out the gifts, normal, carry them to school, let them learn the ABCs, let them learn the 1, 2, 3s, let them learn to count, let them learn to read, so that nobody will take advantage of them, and then start now harnessing the gifts. So a person might say, I know to have a lady is the best crab and dumpling I ever tasted in my life. It's the best crab and dumpling. I don't think nobody else in the world can make a crab and dumpling like that person. That person now is the owner of a restaurant, a local restaurant, doing that, and she's making millions. And she has no education really, in the sense that she just finished secondary school and that was it. But she liked to eat, she liked to cook. She followed that. So, it may not look significant to you. And why? Because commercial-wise, TV is spoiling a lot of people from the point of view of what is being advertised. Hollywood is coming down in Trinidad and Tobago. So all we're seeing is everybody wants to be a singer, everybody wants to be an actor, because that is what is being advertised. And you have your nice gift there, You might be, it could be anything. You could be a painter and make millions. The voice of a poor man is not heard. A voice of a poor man is not heard. Why? Because you might have a great idea in this room. You probably had the answer for crime. Probably. You might have the formula how to solve crime. But if you go now and stand up with a loudspeaker and say, you ask the seeker audience with the National Security Minister or the Prime Minister, and they say, I have the carpet here. They're not going to take you on, They're not going to take you on, but probably if you're a millionaire, or probably if you have a big position, or you're somebody known, and they come with a plan, they will listen to you. Same plan you had before, So that is proof that persons will only listen to persons of influence. Influential person influence people. So how do you get influence? How do you get respect? That's a word I like. When I was growing up, all I wanted was just respect. How can I get respect? I get respect by the things that I'm doing and how well do I do it. So if you can do something extremely well, you can do it. So, here is how you can parent your child to find out what is their purpose. Now, I'm going to use a little formula that I read, and I kind of try it out myself. You yourself can try it out, because don't feel that you are left out. Probably you think that you're a particular age and you cannot go back to your purpose. You couldn't know. That little idea that you had, that you put on the shelf 20 years ago that you wanted to do, you could go back and do it. And children coming up watching you can give you an example. Now there's something called a hedgehog concept. You can go on the internet and look at it. H-E-D-G-E, hedgehog concept. Anybody know what's a hedgehog? Anybody? Oh, okay. A hedgehog. Anybody know what's a hedgehog? Say? Right. A little something like a skunk, but it has a lot of spikes. A porcupine, but a mini porcupine. Now the concept with the hedgehog and the fox. We know that a fox is an animal that is very smart, witty, cunning. The fox is intelligent. The fox knows a million ways how to do something. But the hedgehog have one concept. So every time the fox decides, I'm going to catch the hedgehog, the fox come up with all different types of techniques. So the hedgehog is passing, the fox hide behind a tree and jumps out to kill it. And all the hedgehog does is to turn into a ball. And every time the fox come up with an idea, that's all the hedgehog doing. Remember the roadrunner? And the fox? All the roadrunner was doing was just running fast. That is the example of a hedgehog. Now, the hedgehog concept is this. Find out what you can do the best in the entire world, better than anybody else in the world. That's one. Or find out what you cannot be the best in the world. So you find out how can I be the best in the world, or better than anybody else, and at the same time, what I am not the best in. I know I can't sing. I know I could never be the best singer in the world. So that there's no way I could be thinking of, I want to be a singer. A lot of people want to be something that they've seen people, and it wouldn't work. So find out what I could be the best in. No, your best could be probably, you can talk. There are people making millions talking. See, your daughter growing up and your daughter's a chatterbox. She chatting, she talk, everything she talking, everything. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. She talking, the other tell she hush her mouth, quiet. Now that same thing that you're criticizing, that is the same thing that could cause her to be a motivational speaker at the end of the day. And she can make millions. A guy named Malcolm Gladwell came down here. He wrote some books. He came down here, 1 hour, he spoke at Arthur Lockjack, 40,000 TT. Speaking for 1 hour. All he doing is talk, and it's things that you know already. But it's because Malcolm Gladwell said that he will go and listen. No, I am not against bringing on foreign pastors. I'm not against them. But you know, I ask myself sometimes they come and they tell you things on here that, wow, thanks for telling us. We didn't know that, you know. I'm not criticizing them, but what I'm saying, how come nobody from the States just call for people on here to go up and talk to them? I find that strange. I don't like that kind of thing. We always have to bring down somebody, but I don't hear some pastor, probably have, I ain't saying it now, but you don't hear regularly that some pastor is being called for a massive million-man conference where he's going to talk to transform America. Now, pastors from America come along here to transform us, but America ain't no better than Trinidad. So how come they can't heal America? I'm just saying. So it's just a way of what we call critical thinking. Start thinking, not outside the box, but away from the box. Don't even stand up. You can come out the box, but if you're next to the box, you can still be thinking in the box, you know. So when you come out the box thinking, run away from the box and start a thing. So, that's one. So you find out what you can be the best or not be the best in. That's one. That's one. So that's one circle. The second is 3 circles I'm going to give. The second circle is find out if that setting is something that you enjoy doing. That don't matter what, you just love it. If you don't love it, I mean, what I'm doing now, I love. What I was doing in the academy, I love. But when I was working in the stations, I didn't like that, you know. I don't like too much of patrol and thing, you know, to be honest with you. I mean, I have to do it as a police officer, but I never really like that. So I will do it only because, okay, I'm getting paid to do it and I will patrol, I will do it. But if I have a choice, I don't want to go on a patrol. So you're working in a job, all right? You're in a job. You're only going to work because I want that money to pay my rent, yes? You're unhappy. How much of us are unhappy in our jobs? Yeah, you're unhappy. You're just doing it because, and you just wish you could do something. This week I went to Antigua, and I woke up in the morning, I was like, this is the life. I just wish I could just get paid for just doing this. And it could happen, you know. But you have to find out what you can be the best in the world in, and if you enjoy doing it. And thirdly, you do what you call a cost-benefit analysis, meaning watch the economics. Picture you getting paid for something you like that is the best in the world in. Those are the 3 concepts. Find out what do you think is the best in the world in. Right. find out if you like it. And 3, get pay for it. All right? So I'll leave him with that. I'll close him with that. All right? If you don't believe me, go up on the internet and just type in hedgehog concept and you will see the concept. All right? So in closing, I want to say, parents, the technique is find out from your children what are their gifts. Find a way to find out. Get it? Harness their gifts. Because you'll benefit later on. Because when they get rich, you'll benefit. Hopefully they won't play in a home. All right? But you'll benefit. Secondly, have conversations with your children. Do not strike. Do not hit. Violence breeds violence. All right? Be a friend to them. All right? So, I want to thank you all very much for having me. As I said, Mr. Johnson, I'm available anytime. If you're moving around, let me know. And I'll be a part. So, thanks again. Thanks for everything. Okay, ladies and gentlemen?